for the Celtics in the fourth quarter. But the Big 12 had their best year ever, $426 million in revenue. And that's a 25% increase over the past year and 10% higher than its peak before the pandemic. So things are good, and they expect to name a commissioner by mid-July. So some good news coming out of the Big 12.
Yeah, there was a lot more than that. I mean, they got into quite a few things, and as you mentioned, yeah, distribution's higher. It's a little bit of a bounce back, and that's great. Not monumental by any means, but certainly they're above ground, not losing money like those figures that we saw a week or two ago that were the pandemic kind of figures that were out there. So yeah, I mean, things are getting back to normal and even above normal in the case of the Big 12 and their payout. So that's good. I mean, that's, $40+ million. I know it doesn't really scratch the surface of what, a couple of other conferences are doing, but that's respectable enough. And it is an increase. So not going to pick that apart too much. And yeah, they also mentioned that they will announce a commissioner around Big 12 Media Days in July. So we're about a month out from that, or about a month and a half out from that at this point. And here in about 5-6 weeks, we'll be in Arlington for Big 12 Media Days, and I guess at that time, that's when we'll all see who the brand new commissioner is, and I'm sure there will be a press conference of some sort, so we'll get a chance to talk to he or she, whoever it ends up being. Right now, I don't know that anybody really has the inside track on that. I've not really spent a lot of time digging into rumors or anything revolving around the Big 12 presidency, but it'll be good to see somebody finally in that chair, and who's going to be replacing Bob Bowlesby. I think a lot of people are interested in knowing that.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if it's a name that we'll be familiar with, or will be one of those things expected, or it will be one that comes out of nowhere. I mean, I would think that nobody really expected George Kliavkoff to be the Pac-12 commissioner when that happened, because he came from a different world. What are they really looking for? But we'll know in a month. So, there's a lot of obvious names like Oliver Luck out there that people think about, but, I don't know if that's really where we need to be thinking. Maybe they have like Mac Rhodes, who will be on the show today at 4:20. Maybe they have his hiring practices where it's all a secret until the announcement. I don't know.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not a part of it, so I don't have any idea either, but it's been pretty secretive so far. So, yeah, we'll find out here in 5 weeks in Arlington where, that announcement will be made. But you just named some of the names that were brought up initially, and like I just said, I haven't scouted out a whole lot of the rumor mill surrounding it, so I don't know if anybody else has been mentioned, but I think they'll probably try to keep it pretty close to the vest, because why announce? You're going to make an announcement in 5 weeks and then spoil the announcement before then.
Yeah. Big 12 also got into some new branding things, which is going to be interesting down the line. I don't know what that all entails as far as, what you're going to see from them moving forward is to try to rebrand without Texas and Oklahoma and make people kind of forget about that, because they're not. So you're kind of a new league, and, I know you're going to keep that name, but I don't know how do you move forward and make people not think losing Texas and Oklahoma is a big deal. I mean, that's going to be their key in branding, because I don't know how you do that.
I don't know. That's for those guys making big money to decide that are doing this. So, yeah, I have no idea of how you go about trying to rebrand. I mean, I don't necessarily think of Oklahoma and Texas when I think of the Big 12. I think of the Big 12. I think of Baylor and TCU and Tech and Oklahoma and Texas and the Big 12. I don't think they're taking the identity of the conference with them. Some people may feel that way. I don't think it really matters in the long run because it doesn't matter. But, they're not going to take the name with them. It's going to be the Big 12. It's going to remain the Big 12. It's going to be 12 teams soon enough, whereas it's only been 10 now for a while. And, I don't know. Do they come up with a new logo? They just did that like 3 years ago. Do they change the name? That would be kind of pointless because, again, you're going to be at 12 teams and you're not going to just give the identity to Oklahoma and Texas. So, they could certainly stand to rebrand or what have you and change things up a little bit. But as far as how they do that, I didn't see much of that out of the notes that I saw. So if there's anything you can add to that in terms of what actually they're rebranding, then I'd be interested. But, I don't know what kind of they're looking at as far as that goes. But, I think we could certainly agree they could, use a little bit of a shuffling of how people view the Big 12 and if they can somehow give it a more positive image, because it hasn't been as positive an image as lately, that would be, obviously what you're paying people for. So hopefully there's some good ideas out there.
Well, Bob Bowlesby seemed happy about it. But I mean, that's his job to sometimes. I don't think he's necessarily a sunshine pumper though when he doesn't need to be, and he's on the way out. So but he said he thinks the league is trending well based on what they saw. So I mean, that's his opinion, and that's what he's supposed to say. You wouldn't be like, I don't know. You wouldn't want him to say, how does it look? I wouldn't want that from Bob Bowlesby on his way out the door. But I mean, he's the one who helped put this thing back together. So. But we don't know what they saw, like, as far as that presentation. We can ask about
like as far as what? Are we talking about, like branding presentation?
Branding and, like, what the storylines are. And because it's one of the things he said they were working through, because it's weird with Texas and Oklahoma there on the way out, and they're branding a league for the future to build to a new TV deal without these two titans of their conference. So he says it's trending. He thinks it's trending well.
Well, yeah, I would hope so. I mean, I think if you came out today and said, man, this really sucks, then we'd all be quite alarmed by that. So, yeah, I think that it should be positive. I mean, it's the dead middle of the summertime, and they're all meeting, and there's no reason at this point for things to be going sideways. I mean, you're all just trying to do the best for each other. Oklahoma and Texas are doing the best they can to be civil on their way out. Everybody else that's coming in is being as civil as they can be with those schools that are exiting. And I think everybody's just trying to get along and figure out the best things for the Big 12 moving forward. We've talked about, there's obviously awkwardness there because there's schools that are leaving and schools that are coming in. And I know that, Jamie Pollard touched on that, and I'm sure Mac Rhodes will touch on that as well. But, as far as the branding thing you mentioned, I don't know really, again, what they're doing there. But I'm glad that, things are on the up and up. I mean, you would expect it to be that way. These are a bunch of adults. They shouldn't be in a room. Well, we're leaving and we're coming in and you're a duty head. Or, what angst should there be? BYU doesn't have beef with Texas and Oklahoma. Hell, it opened the door for them to be in a better place than they've ever been. Same for Cincy and Houston and UCF as well. So, I mean, it's a business. All the time for the petty stuff was last summer when the announcement was first made and all throughout this last year. So at this point, everybody needs to just get work done, get those meetings going and get those handshakes going and get those conversations going on a lot of important issues that are facing college athletics right now because, quite frankly, the branding part of it is the least of their concerns, quite frankly. They need to figure out exits, entrances. They need to figure out schedules. They need to figure out pods. They need to figure out revenue. They need to figure out a TV deal in the future. So, that's all out there for them to take care of. And hopefully they're, chipping away at that here or have been chipping away at that here while these meetings have gone on.
Yeah. In 2020.